This episode is brought to you by Whitaker Garage Doors, your one-stop shop for all things garage doors, proudly based in Peekskill, New York. Your home is a direct reflection of your personal style, and let's face it, your garage doors are the first thing people see when they pull up your driveway. Whether you're looking for the timeless charm of a classic carriage house door or the clean, sleek look of a basic wood finish, Whitaker Garage Doors offers traditional options for every taste and budget. I can personally vouch for their incredible service. When I had my own garage doors done, I was blown away by their timeliness, professionalism, and overall respect for their clients. Jonathan, Cassara, and their entire team are top-notch, and they really go the extra mile to ensure you're happy with the final result. So if you're in the market for a new garage door or need some repairs, give them a call or find them on Instagram at Whitaker_doors. Don't forget to tell them you're a friend of Dave's over at the No Snooze podcast. Whitaker Doors. You won't regret it. Now, back to the epi. Adversity? Bring it. The struggle? I welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. I am Dave Regina, and this is the No Snooze podcast. Come on. Yeah, well, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for coming. Happy holidays to everybody. I know that it's a tough time just to find some time in your schedule to make for us. So I am so grateful for each and every one of you guys coming out. I have a couple of sponsors to thank. And first, I want to say thank you to my brother Tom Stefano, Stefano Law. He specializes in personal injury. And Tom, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself to everybody and letting them know kind of who you are and what you do, man.
Sure. Okay.
Give me a hug first, man. Thank you.
So first, I just want to say thank you to Dave for allowing me to sponsor this incredible event. I know it's going to be an awesome night. What's up, Sean? As Dave said, I'm Thomas Stefano. I have a law practice in Westchester County, though we do take cases throughout the tri-state area. My practice is focused on personal injury, so car accidents, slip and falls, construction accidents, really any type of case where somebody is injured through the negligence of somebody else. What we do is we help you put your life together after an accident. So if you're in a car accident, we help you get your car fixed. If you're out of work, we help you get lost wages. We help you get your medical treatment paid for, and then at the end of the case, we get you compensated either through a settlement or a jury verdict for your pain and suffering. And I always tell everybody, I hope you never need me, but if you do, or a friend or family member does, what I deliver is transparency, responsiveness, and let you know exactly where we stand from start to finish. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. My mom actually fell in a hole years ago. We could have used you, remember? And nothing panned out with that, right? We didn't know Tom back then. Shame. My brother Sean Degnan. Come on up here, man. I'm eternally grateful for you, my brother. I love you, and we've been able to build, an incredible business behind Action Cultivates Excellence. But it's amazing because when you put up something like this, right, you touch different lives, and you touch people who you don't know, who I'm meeting for the very first time. But always one of the first signups, and to always just put your best foot forward in your support and everything that we're a part of, that I'm a part of. I just want to say thank you. So Sean Degnan is a founder of Action Cultivates Excellence, alongside another guy that I know very well. I'm talking about myself, so you guys should laugh there. And also owner and operator of the Sale House in Tarrytown. So if you just let everybody know who you are, what you do, my brother.
I think you just did that.
Oh, all right.
Sean Degnan here. So I've got my wife in the front row here, and this is my other wife. So these are my two better halves here. As Dave mentioned, I run the Sale House in Tarrytown, and I co-founded ACE with Dave, where we train leaders. So we're a leadership training and transformation company. predominantly started with the male space, and we're actually dipping into the female space now as well. Katie and Jackie will tell you we didn't really know what we were doing for a long time in that area, and we're trying to figure that out now. So with your help, we would love to expand that. And appreciate you, my brother. I love you. This guy officiated my wedding down in Miami a month ago, and he's a man of many talents. So I'm blessed to have you in my life, bro.
Thank you, bro. You want to do Camilla? And just I want to speak on the importance of just small business, right? And we love promoting small businesses. And if there's a business that you guys have and we're running an event, we always offer the opportunity to collaborate on events. And it's important because, business is earned through trust, right? And people do business with individuals that they trust. So we only collaborate with individuals that we love and trust. Right, so that's why we chose, these guys here. But you're going to talk a little bit on MCM marketing? Yeah.
So Camila Medina is the founder of MCM Marketing, and she's been a huge supporter of me and Dave. Dave was actually on a podcast with her. It was in a $60,000 studio. It was an unbelievable studio. I've been there before. So she does marketing, anything digital marketing, and anything that can help boost people's sales. So we appreciate her for being a sponsor in this night. Mm-hmm. And I know Dave's got one more shout out to go.
Yeah, well, there's also a better story there. So she was supposed to be here. She's very pregnant. And she hit me up last minute and she said, listen, I am so sorry, but my husband surprised me with a baby moon. So I cannot be there, but she sends her love and her support. We also have Craig from Prime Rails and Renovations of Westchester. They literally do probably some of the nicest modern rails that I have ever seen. And they do a lot of renovation work, but if you have a house and you're looking, to install some staircase or any level of renovation, they are there for you. All right. And then also we have Claudio Valenzuela in the back of Kai Vision Productions right here in Stamford, Connecticut. So Claudio and I, alongside my other brother, Michael Pirelli, we founded the No Snooze podcast, and now Claudio does this full time. So I appreciate you so much, man. I don't think any of this stuff really comes to life without No Snooze, and I mean that because No Snooze was the thing that really created the platform to start Action Cultivates Excellence, and to put my name on a book. And I still can't believe that anybody wants to not only hear what I have to say, but also read what I wrote. So thank you guys so much to the sponsors. Cool.
All right. Give it up for Dave. So, yeah. All right. Give it up for Claudio one more time while I awkwardly put on this mic. I'm a big fan of staying away from awkward silences. So Dave, I appreciate you being here today. I mean, when we talked about doing this in Stamford, I was so excited because one of my goals has been to bring personal development to Stamford, Connecticut. And I cannot think of a better leader in the world of personal development than this guy. I mean, almost every month, I'm at his men's personal development dinners that he does with Sean, and we just leave there so inspired, so motivated, so ready to go. Can you talk a little bit about how 30 Lessons to Lead was born?
Yeah, well, before I do that, I want to say thank you to Brandon Godoris and WarmHeart Life. That's where we are right now, and there's a funny backstory with Brandon, and I was actually looking at a screenshot from 2020 when he reached out to us, right? Mike, Claudio, and myself, we started the podcast, and we were about like 20 episodes in, and we're just kind of rocking out, like trying to figure out a flow. And we get an email from this guy, Brandon Godoris, and I'm like, Mike, check this email out. And at the end of the email, he said, I don't know what you guys charge to get on the show, but let me know. I'd love to get on the show. I say, Mike, I think we got something here, bro. And I was like, Mike, how much should we charge this guy? And then we're like, nah, we can't charge him. Come on. And we actually met back then in 2020. And we did a podcast. Brandon's got a great story. He's actually an author as well, and does a lot of different things, but has really like honed his message with WarmHeart Life. And I just appreciate everything that you've done to support our community and kind of what we're doing. I had an opportunity to also speak at Brandon Godoris' event, A to B Con, and that was a wonderful event right here in Stanford. And Stanford just means so much to me. You know, I was here for I don't know, a number of years with my beautiful family that is in the building. I got everybody here. I got my mother in the building for the first time ever. I love you. I appreciate you. I am so grateful for you. The journey has not always been the easiest, which I know we'll talk about a little bit, but you're one of my best friends, and you're a true hero of mine, and I love you with all of my heart. And also, yes, it's funny, this is actually the first time you've ever seen me speak, right? Yeah, and I also have my father in the building, Michael Regina. Dad, I love you. And, you know, two of the hardest working individuals that I know. My mom, I give you so much credit for teaching me about resilience, right? And Dad, that tagline of just never, ever, ever give up is just ingrained in me forever. And you know, I want to make sure that I give you your flowers while you guys are still here, because we know that life is very, very short. And anytime I have an opportunity to speak on you guys, I want to do it in private, and I also want to do it publicly. So I love you guys. And I also have my brother and sister. She's getting teary-eyed over here. I love you guys, and thank you so much for coming. And they have their significant others. My new brother-in-law, Pat, is in the building. Hi, Pat. And my soon-to-be sister-in-law, Diana. Thank you so much for being here. And my mom's fiance, Renee, thank you so much for coming out. So I don't even know how many years I really spent in Stanford, but I actually went to high school not too far away. I went to King Lohayward Thomas. You know King?
She went
to 05.
05. Oh, wow. What, 90? What, 95?
95.
Oh, got you. I was like, wait, this is crazy. 05. So yeah, I went to King and Stanford after I did 2 years in Greenwich. So, you know, Stanford is near and dear to my heart. And I just, you know, want to give everybody a backstory of kind of, you know, how this is not my first time in Stanford. And a lot of people don't know where I'm from. And if I'm in New York, I tell everybody I'm from New York. And then if I'm in Connecticut, I tell them that I'm from Connecticut as well. So you asked about the concept of the book, right? And how it really came about. Nowadays, I really have one mission in life. It's to please God and serve people. Please God and serve people. And I'm trying to get closer to God. So one of the steps that I took to do that was to try to implement a water fast. And there's a very special person in the building. My queen, Catherine, is here with us. And she specializes in not only fasts, but just living a life that I really love and I appreciate. And I'm so grateful for you and the spiritual journey that you've been able to kind of lead me on and get me closer to God as well. And you know, we'll talk a lot more about kind of the whole story and how everything came about with that. But I was on day one of a water fast, right? And I'm like, wow, how am I going to do 3 days? It was a 3-day fast at the time. And I had certain things that I wanted to do. And I wrote down like, you know, God, just open the next door for me. Open something, talk to me, talk to me. And on day one of that water fast, I was actually sitting in the sauna. And when I sit in the sauna, I meditate. It's about a 12 to 14 minute meditation. It's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
And I don't recommend doing a water fast and sitting in the sauna. Don't do that. And for those of you who don't know, a water fast is really just consuming just water. And I think I allowed myself to have 1 black coffee or maybe 2 black coffees for the day. And I'm sitting in that meditation and I am visualizing myself on this large stage, which I put in my mind that was a large event that I was doing down in Atlanta, Georgia called InvestFest in front of 25,000 entrepreneurs that was coming up in 2 months. And I'm sitting in that meditation, and behind me pops up a QR code. And I'm staying in the meditation. I'm like, what is that QR code? And then the word leader just kind of came across the screen. And this is not in real life. This is in my meditation. And I'm like, what is that? And then I see everybody pick up their phones and scan the QR code. And it popped. And I said, it's a book. And I'm like, well, how do I write a book? Like, what do I do? My queen has written a book, but we've been very clear that like she doesn't want to deal with me when it comes to like some business things. I'm a little too picky for her when it comes to that. So I've picked her brain, but there's one other lady, and her name is Mary Bell, and she writes romance novels and children's books. I hadn't talked to Mary in, I don't know, probably a year. So she's on my mind, but I'm like, you know what? I'm a man of action. I gotta go to my desk and just start like writing some things to figure out how I'm going to create a book. As I'm driving to work, right after that meditation, my phone dings and I get a text message from who? From Mary Bell. Wow. And if that wasn't a sign, I don't know what is. So I have been very diligent in my life in following those signs now. So that's how the concept of 30 Lessons to Lead came about.
Wow. And so that started 2 months before InvestFest?
Mm-hmm. So
holy crap.
I got back to my desk and I just started writing all these leadership principles. Self-discipline, consistency, teamwork, resilience, integrity, intention. I had like 75 words. I'm like, all right, it can't be 75 lessons to lead. All right, it's gonna be a long time. So I narrowed it down and I came up with 30. And I was like, well, what's the most important one? I'm like, self-discipline. So I sit down and I write some bullet points on self-discipline. And I explain what discipline is. And then I give a reflection question, a personal story, and an action step that you can take in your life. And that first chapter took me about 3 hours. So I was like, okay, I can do this. And as I kept writing the book, that became the structure. And I was knocking these chapters out, and I got it all the way down to about an hour and 45 minutes per chapter. And the entire book took me 58 hours of writing time, where I literally sat down and wrote a 200-something page document on my computer. And I, pitched the idea to Mary, and she was like, look, if you can do that, I can do the rest, right? Like she'd be so mad because there's supposed to be a table skirt here that's not here, and she would be mortified that I put my books on there without the table skirt. But she put, the cover together, and my brother Claudio, I hit him up, I'm like, I need a photo. He's like, all right, what do we need this for? And he takes a couple shots, and we were able to create that, and that's really important in my life now too, is incorporating the individuals that have been with me. I can go nowhere without my team, right? And we also have Mike Press in the building. There he is. I have known the majority of these people for a long time, right? Like Claudio, we've been working together 10 plus years. I know Mike since I was 15 years old. Sean and I have a newer relationship, 2.5 years. I met Mike around that same time, and Mike has been instrumental in everything that we do. And if there's one thing that I can say, just to anybody out there, trust in your people and allow them to be a part of your journey. Because I don't want, my face is pretty cool on the book, but it really means nothing to me if I'm not acknowledging, you like that? If I'm not acknowledging the people that have helped me get here.
That's one thing. We're gonna get into like the parts of the book, but that's one thing I loved about this book is at the very end, you gave about a paragraph shout out to a lot of the people who have helped you become the leader that you have today, and usually in books there's like dedication or acknowledgement in the beginning. It's very short. One of my favorite parts of the book is seeing the leaders that have made an impact on your life. Can you talk a little bit about why it was so important for you to make that last part of the book just basically shout out to the leaders who helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah, for sure. My family, comes really before before anything. And, we didn't always have it the easiest, but I would not choose it any other way. So it would be a huge fault of mine to write this whole book and not specifically name drop every individual that's in there. And I've actually been having a couple conversations with people. Sean and I had one the other day, and certain individuals said that, oh wow, you name drop a lot, and you included a lot of like personal stories. I said I can't give enough credit. I can't give enough credit because I would not be the man I am today, and you would not be here if it wasn't for every individual that is named and listed in that book. And there's some that I could have kept going, to be honest, but you gotta cut it off somewhere. So I wouldn't be able to do it, without acknowledging everybody there.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool. And I think every great leader was inspired by someone. When I was reading the book, I was actually surprised. You broke it down into 3 different sections, but then you had an intro section about faith. Were you always a man of faith, or how did that all start?
Yeah, no. So I had, what? My dad said, ooh.
I'm answering the question.
Yeah. No, I have not. We actually grew up in a pretty cool household, man. It was different, right? Dad was Catholic, mom is Jewish. So I am the Catholic Italian Jew. Very confusing. Very confusing. But as I got older, more and more people are like, oh, me too. I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. So dad always went to church, and mom didn't really go to temple that much. But I actually, growing up, was geared more toward Judaism. I was actually bar mitzvahed. Fun fact. I was bar mitzvahed. And then my life was kind of shaky. 2017 was a very dark year. I got married very young at the age of 24. I am divorced and in a very healthy relationship now. And I made a lot of mistakes at that time, man. I found myself in an affair, and I was binge drinking a lot, spending money in clubs on bottles, attention, utilizing recreational drugs, specifically cocaine, and no one really knew, and even my family, like sometimes they hear it and they're like, wow, like I can't believe it. And things were dark, man. And my mom and I had a tough relationship growing up. I moved out of mom's house when I was around 14 and was with dad. And mom was addicted to drugs and alcohol for the first 28 years of my life. And she is now sober 7+ years. But at that same time, she was really going through it. And I found her, wanting to get sober, and she was staying at my house, and she wanted to change. Yeah. She did. And it was a night where only her and I really remember the specifics of that night. But I was actually in charge of her pill bottle at the time. The doctor said, hey, listen, give her a sugar pill and then give her a real pill. And I believe it was Xanax at the time, right? And if you withdraw somebody off of Xanax, they could die. And every 5 minutes, she was knocking on my door, David, I need my pills. And I was getting very frustrated. And this is where the darkest thought of my entire life happened. And I thought to myself, I need to end this for my mom. So I walk into the room and I say, Mom, come here. We're in the guest room. And I poured all the pills into my hand. And I said, take these. And she looked at me and she started crying. And she said, you want me to die? And I said, no, I would never want that for you. But unless a higher power can save you, there is nothing that I can do for you. There is nothing that I can do for you. My mom takes one pill. Her eyes roll to the back of her head, and her head hits the headboard. And I believe that my mom just died in front of me. And I get closer, and I see her breathing. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to let her sleep. So she slept for about 5.5 hours, which was probably the longest that she slept in a really long time. She wakes up. The knock was very different. And she said, David, I'm ready to get sober. Me, my brother, my sister, we get in a car and we drive her about an hour to the Sunrise House in New Jersey. And we sit her down, and right above her was a serenity prayer. We checked her in, and 30 days later, this hero of mine comes out sober and has never used a substance since. So at that time, God was very real, because I remember saying to her, unless that higher power can save you, there's nothing that I can do for you. Now you would think a smart man would listen at that time. I didn't. I continued to kind of live my life, but the one thing that I began to change from that moment was I began to put a podcast in my ear. And 90% of the time, it was Joel Osteen. And I just started listening to the Word of God. And it took me from 2017 till 2024 to finally give my life to Jesus. And I don't push faith on anybody. Whoever your God is your God. But I do not shy away from my God. And I've even gotten to the point, and it sounds crazy for me to say, I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. And all that means is that I am put here to spread the message of love and to spread the message of God. So that for me is where the faith journey came. So in the book, before I write any lesson, I give a tribute to God. And then I give my 3 steps to leadership, which is number 1, lead yourself first, because I believe that leadership starts in the mirror. Number 2 is lead with intention, because I believe we're all leaders of our lives, but we can start to begin to do some really great things if we put a little bit more intention behind the actions that we take. And then the third piece of leadership, which I think is the most important, and this is where the acts of service come in, but it's lead to multiply, because it's great to have all this wisdom and knowledge. But if you can't articulate the message in a clear, concise way to build and empower other people, I don't believe that you have done your job as a leader. So that's how the book is broken up. Long story short into my journey with faith. Wow. Take over so I can take a sip of water.
Yeah. It's funny, like I've done so many interviews in my life. I don't know if I've ever gotten so lost in a story like that right there. So I'm glad we did a little clap transition.
For the past 5 years, I've trusted Kai Vision Studio with my podcast. And every time, Claudio delivers an exceptional experience. The setup here is flawless. Professional lighting, crystal clear audio, and a custom set that makes every episode look elite. As someone who speaks on leadership, I know how important it is to show up with clarity and confidence. This studio allows me to do just that. The quality here isn't just about the equipment, it's about the environment. Claudio has created a space where I can focus on my message, knowing the production will be sharp, engaging, and professional. In a world flooded with content, standing out matters. And having a studio like this gives me the edge to produce videos and podcasts that truly connect with my audience. If you're serious about creating high quality content, I can't recommend Kai Visions enough. Claudio makes you feel at home, yet delivers at the highest level. 5 years in, I'm not going anywhere else.
So, I think a lot of people see someone like you. You're an incredible leader. You got ACE, where you have men who come to you all the time. Now you're expanding. Like, Sean was talking about earlier, you're in Greenberg, you're like an idol to not only the kids, but a lot of the community there as well. Who was Dave before he became a leader? Like, what was life like then?
I mean, one word would be selfish. And very unintentionally, but very selfish. I remember my family, like, walking on eggshells around me. True? True? I remember my dad asking my brother, he's like, what is wrong with your brother? He's like so angry all the time. Right? True? Very true. No, not all the time, but when adversity strikes.
Okay.
Right? We go with that? Okay. But I believe that's when true leaders shine.
I agree.
Right? During those adverse moments. I was always the guy that, like, I used my, I don't know, like, as I got older, I used my looks to my advantage in terms of, like, oh, people think I'm big and have tattoos, so, like, maybe I look tough. But I was not tough at all. Internally was very, very broken. But looking back, I truly believe that the size of your problem today will be the size of your future tomorrow. So if you have a really big problem in your life right now, that will be the thing that God utilizes to help others change their lives, right? I can only find myself in this very healthy relationship now because of the relationships that I was in before. And not that they were bad relationships.
Yeah.
I was bad in the relationship, right? I made a lot of selfish decisions and did a lot of selfish things that you have to learn from. Right? And then in business, a lot of people don't even know, but I have 2 failed businesses. Right? I have a hat company that I started, that I printed $1,000 worth. Matt's laughing, you remember?
I really forgot about it.
Yeah, good, let's forget about it. I came up with this great concept, and it was like all these words on a hat and a script, and I'm like, oh, these are gonna sell millions. And I printed $1,000 worth of hats, put one Snapchat story up, got 0 responses, had $1,000. I still think I have 1,000. I know, right? And now they'd probably work. So that was one, and then the other one was a beard oil company. And in my barbershop, Irwin's Barbershop in White Plains, they called me Thor, right? Because I walked in there with long hair one day, and he said, "Yo, man, you're Thor." And I always had this concoction of a beard oil that I would use, right? And I named it Thor with 4 ingredients, and it was the Honest Oil Recipe. Really good, right? So I'm cooking this stuff up in my kitchen, and I go to my barber, and he's like, yeah, we'll sample these there. I'm like, oh, great, I got some momentum. Then I go to 4 more barbershops, and they're like, nah, bro, I don't want it. And I just quit. I just gave up. And I feel like too often we do that. And that was not too far. That was probably a couple months before I go to these guys. And Mike was the first one. I said, yo, man, I want to start a podcast. And Mike was my realtor at the time. He's been my best friend since I was 15 years old. And he's like, I don't know, what the heck would we talk about? And we came up with this concept, and it was fitness and finance. And then we quickly realized that we weren't the richest or the fittest, but he was still sold on I'll do a podcast. So we're like, all right, how are we gonna do this? He's like, well, we'll plug microphones into our cell phones. I don't think I can do that. He's like, no, I think it'll work. Sorry if anyone has a podcast and does that, but just to me, I had been listening to podcasts and I really liked clean audio.
Yeah.
So then I have a really good friend of mine at work who's a photographer, and his name is Claudio Valenzuela. And I say, Claudio, do you want to do the podcast? No. And I start to sell him on this dream, and he tells me no. And then finally, we meet up at the diner, and for some reason, Claudio said yes. And I think Mike and I kind of tag teamed him, and we sold him on this dream, and we still didn't really have the name. But Claudio, after telling us 14 times, but I had just been told no by 3 barbershops, I'm like, I gotta keep going here. He finally says yes. But the problem was, he's like, dude, I'm a photographer. I'm like, yeah, isn't it the same? Like, you just need a microphone and like, you're still gonna use the camera to shoot the video. And he like figured everything out. All while Mike is responsible for the name No Snooze. Because at that time, I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and I would go on Snapchat, and I would look into the camera, and I would say, no snooze, baby, come on. And this was still when it was like fitness and finance. And Mike is like, yo, that's the name. And I'm like, what's the name? That's so stupid. And he's like, no, it's not. It's genius from a marketing perspective. And I'm like, I don't know. Sure enough, people who were up at that time, they started sending me Snapchats and saying hashtag no snooze. And that's how the No Snooze podcast came about. And No Snooze was the first thing that I really committed to from a business perspective of like not giving up.
Yeah.
So. You guys don't have to clap after I speak. Like, it's not like what. No, we do. So Dave was very selfish, and he gave up a lot prior to the man that you see today.
Well, and he kind of touched on it earlier, but just to tag along with that, I think I was the second or third guest on No Snooze. Mm-hmm. I think you guys did a season, and then you did the new season where you were doing guests.
Yes.
I think I was the second or third guest, and I always tell people, I said, the reason why you should just continue to work on your message is because when the right opportunity comes up, you'll be ready. And back then technology was a lot different. This is 5 years ago. Believe it or not, it just changed like crazy. Me and Claudio were talking about a $600 microphone that now you can get $200-$300 mics that are 10 times better.
So it's on you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, hey, can you guys do me a favor? Could you just let me get the raw footage? And I just want to edit some clips. And you guys said yes. And I think I put out like 10 short clips from that episode. That changed everything for me. All of a sudden, people started looking at me as a leader, and that's because of you guys. So I just want to thank you three for that real quick.
That's crazy.
And so I love that you talk about vision in the book. Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer in vision. Can you talk about why that was so important for you to have in there?
Yeah. I think everybody going into 2026, you need to establish vision in your life. There's so many lessons in that book that I think are pivotal, but as you transition into the new year, you better start thinking now, because business is coming. That competitor is coming. If you do not have the ability to cast a vision on your own thoughts, businesses, concepts, ideas, you're gonna be left behind. I'll take it to the Bible. And this is where the Bible for me has changed my life, because I used to think that it was in a language that I couldn't understand. It's in the book of Proverbs, and it says, where there is no vision, they will perish. It doesn't say where there is no money, where there is no food, where there is no shelter. It says where there is no vision, they will perish. And, I think anybody who's trying to cast a vision, there's a couple things that you need to do. And I'll try to be as concise as possible, but my guys always make fun of me for having 30 steps. So I think this one is only 5 steps. And it's the first one you hear a lot. It's what is the reason, right? What's the why? That has to be there. Anything in my life that I've been any level of successful with had to have some level of a why behind it. The second piece is make it inspiring. Make it fun. Because if it's not fun and it's not inspiring, you're not going to be able to continue that. Number 3 is communicate often. You have to be able to talk to your team, to talk to the people that you're working with all the time. Because if not, things just die. The 4th thing, I'm actually forgetting. Yeah. Open up the book, go to Vision. I think it's chapter 17.
But you remember that.
Drum roll.
Chapter, what? Yeah. Well, I don't want to mess up the order, because it's important. Chapter 17. Yep. Flip the page.
Specific but flexible.
Yes, this one's very important. So the fourth step here is be specific but flexible. I used to be very rigid, and I didn't have any level of flexibility. Ever. What? What'd you say? That's the third.
Yeah. Fourth is communicate consistently.
Yep. Communicate often.
And what's the fifth?
And what's the fifth?
Involve.
Involve others. Because me, just by myself, I can't do it. I cannot. You have to be able to talk with people and involve them in your vision. And you have to give them some level of ownership, because if not, you're going nowhere. I promise. You'll get to some level of success, but without doing those things, you're going to get left behind. So I think everybody in 2026, you need to cast a vision for your family. You need to cast a vision in your business. You need to cast a vision for your health and wellness. And you need to cast a vision for your relationship with a higher power.
Yeah, no, I love that. You know, I always tell people, I'm like, listen, the reason why you give up on your dreams is because you don't have a big enough vision. Can you talk a little bit about the big vision that you have with ACE and everything you guys are doing?
Yeah, so again, if you go back to the very beginning of what I said, like the most important thing in my life right now is to please God and serve people. I'll say it again, please God and serve people. So Action Cultivates Excellence gives us an opportunity to really do both, because God loves service, right? So we are now stepping into a space of full transformation. We will be transforming the lives of millions of individuals. And you know where it started? In rooms just like this. And now we are finally, able to start to scale this thing and get some significant players involved, right? We have an upcoming event, which is, one of our first events where we're tying in female leaders as well. But in April, we have the support of Westchester County government behind Action Cultivates Excellence. And that is a full circle moment for me, because one of the best leaders that I have ever come across is a female by the name of Kathy O'Connor. And Sean O'Connor happens to be sitting right here, right there. Sean, how are you? His mother was pivotal and instrumental in how I lead people. She was not only, and is not only a female, but she would walk into rooms and she demands respect just off of kind of how she carries herself, but she treats the part-time staff, the volunteers, and the full-time employees all the same. And it was one of the best lessons that I've ever learned, like early on. And being able to like crack into local government, obviously I've been in local government for the past 15 years now. And it's what I love and what I do, but having that like private and public partnership is huge for what we're doing with Action Cultivates Excellence. Want to continue to push the message of the No Snooze podcast, because like we said, that has really transformed everything that I've been able to do. We've been able to crack the top 10% again in 2025, and we grew significantly over this past year, 735% increase. 735% increase, right? And we measure this stuff, right? Like we've been looking at this data, and No Snooze was never like a money maker for us. And it's still really, we don't monetize it the way that we can and should. But that's another way to just put a value out there, right? Put messages of value out there, bring on individuals who can help inspire somebody. And then the book, right? Like this book will sell millions of copies. I'm working on a couple government contracts now. I'm in colleges and universities, and just looking to really push the message of leadership forward, because if it's one thing I want to encourage you guys, you're a leader of your life. You are a leader of your life. And it doesn't matter the position. It doesn't matter your family dynamic. It doesn't matter what mistake you made. It doesn't matter where you come from. You need to own who you are today. And the moment that you start doing that will be the moment that you can now start helping everybody else.
Wow, you can clap it up for that. All right, so this will be my last question, then we'll open it up to you all. So I'm a very curious guy. I think curiosity is one of the coolest superpowers we have in life. And when I first saw the book, I was curious because you're showing a tattoo there, and it seems like you want it to be seen on this cover. And having written books, I know how much thought goes into a cover. So I'm just curious, is there a reason behind that tattoo being showcased there?
No, not specifically. That's a pretty standard pose for a photo shoot, right? I have two photographers in the building here. Beth, how are you? And Claudio, right?
Yeah.
And these guys both individually took the same shot of me and told me to do the same exact pose. So it's a pretty standard pose. The tattoo, though, is very meaningful. Before everything, right, we've already established that I'm a man of God. I am a father to a beautiful baby girl, Callie Michelle. So I think the Michelle is showing. It would have been better if the Callie was showing, for sure. But yeah, I mean, the whole book and why I think who I am today is for my daughter, right? I want my future children to, you can get excited for that statement, to be proud of the man that I am, right? Like, I think my dad walked out, but I am proud to be his son. I am proud to be my mother's son. So having that thought process, and now being a father and having this little human being like look up to you and want to emulate you, they're watching. Kids are watching you, and they always will, and they will start to do the things that you do, right? Like I was walking by the other day, tap Katie on her butt, and Callie, sure enough, goes to tap her on her butt. So they're watching, and I want to make sure that I am a positive role model and influence just in my daughter's life.
Wow. All right, give it up for Dave. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Maybe 2-3 questions. We'll see how long Dave wants to go. We're gonna put your chair right in the center. I'm gonna turn into a mic runner. And who in here has got a question for Dave? Okay, we'll start it off with Sean.
I don't think he needs it. Does he need a microphone or no? He's loud, my sister said.
Yeah, just go ahead. That's fine. Okay.
Oh.
And then we'll move yours.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to ask a question and you don't want it aired, like that's fine too. These cameras are obviously here for content purposes, but if there's something you want to talk about that you want,
mine's like quick. Yeah, it's quick.
you don't need the camera on you by any means.
All right, quick question. I'm going to challenge you, number one. What does it feel like looking at your whole family here, outside of Callie, obviously, Katie, some of your best friends? Give me 2 words, not a sentence, not 10 sentences, 2 words of what you're feeling right now that they're all here in this room for this tonight.
Blessed, grateful.
Good.
That's it.
That's it.
I like that.
I am a sentence guy, so I probably would have ran into a sentence.
All right. Next question, we got one from King Carl right here.
You don't have to stand, bro. If you want to, go ahead.
I would love to, man. This is a blessing to be here in front of you and your amazing family and friends. What's the most challenging thing you've ever experienced, and how did you overcome that?
The most challenging. There was a very dark time in my life, very recently. And it was after, I established the divorce. And I had to get comfortable with being alone, right? The one thing that I didn't like in my life was being alone. I've always been in relationships since I was in high school, always. And it was very weird for me to go through that period. And it was the right decision by far. But I had one person, well, he's not a person, but one thing that loved me unconditionally. and it was my dog Chance. And I had him for 13 years, 12 or 13 years. And I remember being in this dark space around the holidays. And again, no one really knows like this time period and what was going on. And it was 11 o'clock in the morning, and I had just went to the gym. And that was my way of saying like, well, at least I did something like positive today. And I look over on my living room table and I see a decanter with whiskey in it. And I started drinking, and I actually fell asleep, and I woke up at like 5 p.m. And I was like, wow, this is a really, really dark place for me to be in. And when I woke up, my buddy Chance was like right there next to me. And 2 weeks after that, he started to like really, really get sick. And I was so used to like hearing his claws in the night, in the day. I have wood floors, and no one else was in my house at this time. And he got so sick to the point that then in April, right, so the holidays passed, now we're in April, I ended up having to put him down. And when I put him down, that was my first experience ever really being alone. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. But this is where God, I think, like really, really came and saved me here. Because I woke up the next morning and I put that podcast in my ear and I took my behind to the gym and I started to recognize that I had a problem with drinking. But now again, you would think a smart person would stop at that time. And I didn't. So there's not one moment, but it was another 8 months after that where then I finally said, you know what? Drinking is just not for me. And I think anybody in here who is struggling with anything, it doesn't have to be drinking, it could just be a different problem in your life. It's not gonna change overnight. And it's okay. But there's a process that you need to go through. And as long as you're committed on that process, and I would then start to go to clubs around that same time and just start to think to myself, yo, drink 1 cup less today. Don't go to the bathroom as much to do other things. Just start recognizing it. And I started praying on it. I started speaking life into God, take this away from me. So I don't have a moment, Carl, but it's a time period of my life that I'll never forget. Wow. Yep.
All right.
You guys good with the Q&A section? Like you're good?
All right, we got Mike Press with the question over here.
So, you know, I've been shooting you for now almost like a year, and you've done a few book tours and things like that. What have you learned about yourself doing these tours and now being in this space in your life? What have you learned about yourself?
I've learned that I still get nervous every time I speak. Any room I get into, at the start, I'm nervous. I feel the nerves, but I become okay with being nervous. I speak to kids in Greenberg, and I feel it. I spoke on stage in front of thousands of people, and I feel it. I opened up tonight in front of a bunch of people, and I feel the nerves. So I've learned that it's okay to be nervous. It's normal to be nervous. But I also know this about myself. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be spitting this message to you guys, hopefully encouraging you guys, hopefully inspiring you guys, and I hope you do the same in your life. But I think through all of these experiences, I have never been so clear with my impact and what it is doing for not only other people, but also the feeling of myself. So that's a great question, Mike.
Nice. All right.
Brandon, I think, had a question too.
Are you okay with doing 2?
I'm good. If you guys are good,
Okay.
let's keep rocking. I'm good.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go here and then we'll go there. Yeah.
Hi, so at the beginning, I remember you saying you were surprised to know that people wanted to hear what you have to say. But now you have a whole book. I don't know if it's your first book, but you have a book. So how did you overcome the fear, or did you have it where you were afraid, will people buy my book, will they read it and think it's stupid? Am I putting enough knowledge in there? How did you get over not the jitters, but the self-doubt or the fear of writing a book?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think self-doubt, like nerves, is gonna be there, right? And I think for a long time I was putting out the wrong message of like, you have to, stop the self-doubt. Self-doubt is gonna be there, negative thought is gonna be there, but I have a tagline, negative thought, positive action, right? And I say it constantly, negative thought, positive action. So when I get those negative thoughts, I do the first positive thing that I can do. And I am very confident in one thing in my life, and it's me in leadership, right? I was appointed assistant commissioner at the age of 26 years old, which at that time happened to be the youngest commissioner in the state of New York. We've got a successful podcast. We've been able to build Action Cultivates Excellence. And I've always been considered a leader, like on the basketball court, right? I was always a captain of teams and things like that growing up. But what I didn't have was alignment. And I was really missing that alignment. And also the amount of books that I've read since college. In college, I didn't read anything. In high school, I didn't read anything. But since college, I happened to read a lot of books. Sorry to my teachers in the building. But the amount of books I've read and the amount of podcasts I've listened to and the amount of incredible people that I've surrounded myself with, this is my standard. And now I have a standard of personal excellence. So I knew when I was gonna write this book that if I was gonna put this out, I'm gonna go hard. Because anything in my life that I do, I go hard. And it's okay if it doesn't sell the amount of copies that I want to right off the rip. It's okay. As long as I am compounding my actions, I'll be just fine. And I will continue to push the message until you meet that one person or you attend that one event where your whole life changes. And I truly believe that, like, and anybody listening to this, if it airs, I want you to invite me to your big event. Please do it. But I really love these types of environments. These rooms with 20, 30, 40, 50 people, because they're powerful. I can look you in the eyes and I can feel the emotion in you, right? Whereas when you're standing on a stage and all those lights are there, you have to do it to get the message out, but it's not nearly as impactful as something like this. So hopefully that answers the question with the book. Yeah.
All right, we got one
Brandon.
last question, and then we're going to get a picture up here with Dave so we can remember this night. All right.
And if you guys have more questions you want to ask me, I got
Stand
you.
up or?
Yeah, stand up.
Oh, okay.
Stand up, put your hand on your head, and rub your belly.
Hi everybody, Brandon. Dave, you have definitely had a lot of impact on my life personally. So one thing I want to ask is, you, through all your adversity and becoming a true leader, what have you learned only after becoming a true leader about yourself?
I mean, not to be repetitive, but it's true. I need great people with me. I cannot do it on my own. My house is not the same without this woman right here, right? Like my family, I'm not the family man I am without these people here. I'm not the businessman without these people here, and anything that I put my name on moving forward will never be just me. I could be the face of something, right? Because somebody's got to put their face on a book and pose, but I can't do it without anybody. And I think I had the wrong approach early on. I wanted it to be like the Dave show, and I think where I've been really blessed is, with these guys here, they've shown me, and I've been around people that, like, when the gold is striking, Sean and I always talk about this, like, he doesn't butt in and cut me off, which is something that I might have done to Mike. I used to probably be like, Mike, shut up, bro. Like, give me the microphone. Let me like take this mic right now. Whereas now I've learned that, like, I'm here to learn too, man. Like, and I can learn from everybody. Everybody I talk to, I try to learn something from them. And there's a big misconception with certain people who just kind of look at me and then judge me from how I look. And that's okay, you gotta deal with that part too. But to sum it up, man, I need good people around me, and that's what I've learned. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in. That's another epi in the books. You can follow us on Instagram at No Snooze Podcast and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com.